Do you need to use a primer, or do you think it's BS? I'm going to share primers if I think that you need to use a primer. If you do, what type of skin do what are they for? What do you use a primer for? What type of skin is for? We're just going to get into all of it. I also want to talk about powders too as well, because that's another question that I get, and some people get confused on powder, like setting powder, finishing powder. When I started, really quickly, when I first started wearing makeup many, many years ago, there were no primers, okay? And I don't even know if I used a moisturizer before I did my makeup. I'm trying to think, maybe in my skincare routine. Yeah, I wasn't the best about hydrating my skin when I was younger, but I had oily skin. I'm like, I don't need to wear moisturizer. My skin's all oily, but we know that's not true. You need to moisturize your skin even when you have oily skin. Companies came up with all these primers. And at first I thought it was nonsense about primer. You don't need a primer, but there are some primers that do work, but they're not all primers that are going to keep your makeup on longer. I think some people think that. I think that some people think that all primers are going to do that. They don't. There are some primers that I feel like work at doing that, but there are also primers that help with other situations. So that's what I want to talk about. First primer that I want to talk about, and it's one that I mention every single time. It's just using a moisturizer. If you have dry skin, using a moisturizer is going to be your best primer that you can use. So what that's going to do is it's going to prep your makeup before you apply it, okay? And you should have a really good skincare routine. So in the morning, you should be exfoliating your skin. You should just have a really good skincare routine, because if your skin looks really, really good, when you apply your makeup, you're going to look like $1 million. But if you're not taking care of your skin and you're putting makeup on and it's not working for you, it could be your skincare. If you feel like you have dry, patchy skin, whatever, it's probably your skincare. So you really need to make sure that you have a good skincare routine. And I would even recommend using a hyaluronic acid. This one is a hyaluronic acid. It's a hyaluronic acid spray, so it's in this spray. So you can use something like this too as part of your morning routine. But the key is you really want to hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Even if you have oily skin, I'm telling you, I have oily skin and I hydrate the hell out of my skin. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're doing that. And the thing about hyaluronic acid, it's going to help to plump your skin as well. You have your sunscreen on, it's been sitting for a while. Now I like to go in and prime my face before I wear a foundation. And there's different primers that I use, and it just depends for me. Am I going to be outside in the heat and humidity all day? Are my pores not looking as great, and maybe I want them to look a little bit smoother? Or do I just feel like I need a little bit more hydration, so I'm going to put that moisturizer on? Those are the things that I look at my skin and determine what. So today, I just went in with this. This is the Magic Cream. You don't have to get this, okay? But you want to use a good moisturizer. You don't have to get, when I say good, I'm not saying you have to spend $65, okay? You could just use whatever. I know some people like that Embryolisse, I think it's called. I believe it's French. I tried that years ago. I didn't get the hype. I don't know. I didn't like it at all. But just use a really good one. Use a good moisturizer. And if that's the one you use, that's great. Use what works for you, but just use a good moisturizer. You don't want to use anything that's really thick and heavy that's meant for nighttime, but you want to use a nice one that's light, that's going to work under your makeup, okay? Another one you can use is something like this. This one is from e.l.f., and this is the Power Grip. This one's a little bit sticky, okay? I'm going to show you. I'm going to put some on the back of my hand. So when you apply it and you rub it in, it's going to feel a little tacky, okay? I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera. See how my fingers? So that is going to help to grip your foundation on. So something like this is going to help to keep your makeup on a little bit longer. So this is a really nice one. Another drugstore option. Now this one is not sticky, and I don't honestly understand how it works, but I'm going to tell you it works because I've tested it out. I have oily skin. I live somewhere where it's extremely humid, and this will keep my makeup on for hours and not look gross. And it's the Wet n Wild 5-in-1 Essence Primer. So you want to use even something like this if you have oily skin. If you have dry skin, I wouldn't recommend this. This definitely for oily skin. You can use the other one if you have dry skin too. but it definitely is going to work if you have oily skin. So these are really, really nice. So you want to use something that's tacky, or something like this that's just magical. That's all I can tell you. It's really like magical. If you have a lot of pores and things like that, you can use something that's has some silicones in it that's going to smooth out your pores and your lines. So you would apply that first. I have one, but I don't want to share it because I haven't tested it yet. So I will test it and I will get back to you on it. But I was gifted one in PR, but I haven't tested it, so I can't recommend it. But this is another one for oily skin. If you have oily skin and you want more of a matte look, this one is from MAC. It's the MAC Studio. It's a mattifying 12-hour shine control primer. This one is fabulous, but I will tell you, out of the two, I'll pick this one any day over this one, but this is another one that's good. So if you're someone, again, like me, that has oily skin and you need to control the shine, something like this. Because I use it when it's really hot and humid, I will use a matte foundation, but sometimes even with a matte foundation, if I don't use something that's going to help to control the oils, I'll just be greasy and gross. So I have to. So again, if you have oily skin, these are some recommendations for you. If you have dry skin, you want to use something that has silicones in it. You want to use a moisturizer. One of those two things. That's what you want to use before you apply your foundation. This is another one. This is from, now this one's better for dry skin. This is the All Nighter Ultra Glow Face Primer. And that's from Urban Decay. But again, I feel like over this, I would pick a moisturizer first over this. Because if it's going to hydrate you, just go in and use a moisturizer. Okay. The Gucci is another one that I have that I like. Again, this is better for oily skin. And this is the Serum Day Beauty. It's a mattifying primer. Again, it's a mattifying primer. So it's going to help to control my oils. Okay. So those I recommend. You can see I have a lot for oily skin. But as I said, I was someone that didn't really believe in primers. I just thought they were nonsense. But then I started testing some, and I do believe that there are some primers that do work. I don't feel like they're all just nonsense. I saw somebody, one of the reasons I wanted to do this is I heard somebody say that she didn't believe in primers and that she saw a lot of, she's been backstage with makeup artists and she's never seen a makeup artist do a primer on their, with their makeup. But I know that they did. They at least did a moisturizer. Okay, they hydrated their skin in one way or another. They at least did that. So maybe they weren't doing the gripping and all that. But I feel like stuff like that, like a gripping primer, if you're going to go on stage and do makeup, they're going to keep on getting touched up. So they probably wouldn't need to use something like that anyways. They probably want their skin to be glowy, and if it gets oily, they're just going to go backstage and get touched up again and go back on stage. So you can't really compare like going on doing runway work or whatever, like what they look like compared to everyday people. If you have a job where you're working all day and you need your makeup to look good, then you're going to want to go in with a gripping primer, in my opinion. Okay. So when it comes to hydration, then just use a moisturizer. If you're looking for gripping, and you need it to grip a little bit more, then you want to get something like this that's going to grip it a little bit better. Okay. And if you need something that's going to just smooth out your pores, then you're going to want to use something that has some silicones in it that's going to smooth that out. So let's get into powders really quickly too. There's two types of powders. There's setting and there's finishing powders. Now, some people feel that, what's the difference between, because some of the powders are so finely milled, what's the difference between the two? I will tell you that there is a difference. Let me get a couple of powders. There's actually another powder that I should have brought in here and I didn't. Believe it or not, there are some powders that are more hydrating. And those would be setting powders. Those would be powders that I would use more in the winter months than the summer months, because if I use a hydrating powder in the summer, I would look very shiny. So Sicily has a powder, and I should have brought it in here. It is very hydrating, so I did not wear that this summer. I would have just looked ridiculous. I'm going to show you the two that I'm wearing today. One of them is the reason why my skin looks filtered. Okay, So this one is the Givenchy Prism Libre. I love this. This one works really, really well for me for controlling my oils. I really, really have learned to love this powder. Okay, so this is a setting powder. This is a finishing powder, and this is the Catfished from Kimchi, and that is what I put right here. So this, if I put this on, it's not going to control my oils. This is going to help control my oils. This is not going to help to control my oils. This is just going to give me a smooth, filtered look, and I'm all about it. So the difference again with a setting powder versus a finishing powder is a setting powder is going to help to set your makeup. So if you have oily skin, especially, I feel like if you have dry skin, I really don't think you have to set your makeup, in my opinion. I really don't. I think the more powders you put on is not a good idea. But for somebody like me that has oily skin, I have to, because I need that powder to help to absorb some of the oil so I don't look greasy. So setting powder sets your makeup. Finishing powder you can put it on after, like on top of your setting powder, and you just use it in areas that you want to blur. So like I put it right here today, put it on my chin, and I put it right up there. That's all I did. I didn't put it like that part or anything like that. You just put a little bit there. That's all you need to do. And I could put it under my eyes. I haven't tried that yet, but maybe I'll have to play around with it and see. The only thing is sometimes this is so fine, it's too fine for under my eyes. I need a little bit more, and that's why I use the Charlotte Tilbury. Now the Charlotte Tilbury, I find this to be actually more of a finishing powder too than a setting powder. It's very, very fine. You can use it all over and it looks amazing, but it doesn't control my oils. So that's why I only use it under my eyes right now. This one, like I said, I haven't tried this. I do use this. I'll have to play around with it. I'll let you know. So another powder that I have is this one. This one is from Laura Geller, and this is her, it's called her Baked Blurring Setting Powder. This one doesn't set my makeup really well. It looks amazing on me. It definitely blurs my skin. But I like to use this again with a setting powder. And to make it so I don't look like I have too much powder, because even though I have oily skin, I don't want it to look like powdery. What I do, and I've shared this before, and I need to get some because Mama's almost out, is the MAC Fix Plus. I will set my makeup with my powder. I will go in and I will spray this all over. So setting powder first, go in and use this. I let it completely dry, and then I will go over it with something like this or the kimchi. That's what I will do in just certain areas, not all over. And then if I feel like it, I will spray it again, and it just melts it all. So it doesn't look powdery at all on me. So I hope that was helpful to you. I hope that helped you understand the difference between the different primers and the powders. If there's something that I didn't mention, please let me know in the comments below so I can help you with that. If you are new here, I would love to have you join. I share new videos every single week. Please consider smashing that subscribe button below. It is free. And if you are already a subscriber, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for your continued support. It means so much to me. It truly, truly does. Before you leave, do me a huge favor. Please make sure you like, share, and comment my videos because it helps to push them out. And I greatly appreciate it. So thank you all so much for joining me today, and I will catch you guys all in my next video. Bye.